Bitcoin is falling, but altcoins are falling more. In this video, not only are we going to cover the price of Bitcoin, but we're also going to cover the altcoin market, which in the past day has not been so great. President Trump also came out this morning and he spoke a little bit about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies that I need to go over too. And on Wednesday, there's a massive decision that is going to be made by the Supreme Court of America on tariffs. That will also be another very volatile event, and I know it just feels like so much is happening and it's kind of scary at times, and that's why I'm bringing this daily crypto analysis for you so that we can cover things in detail and make sure that we're well composed. With that said, if you guys destroy the like button, that would mean the absolute world to me, and subscribe if you're not a crypto kid yet. We're trying to get to 60,000 subscribers. Let's hope that Bitcoin doesn't go to $60,000, and I'll show you why that's very unlikely. Now, Carl, he made a video this morning and he pointed out a pattern that I didn't spot before, and it is this great triangle that we've been forming for some time. Now, what's not so great about this triangle is that we've actually broken below this line of supports. So we literally in the past 1 hour, specifically within the past 1 hour to 2 hours, we've broken below the support line of this triangle. We're trying to come back up to the resistance or the prior support, now resistance, to retest it. But with that retest, I wouldn't be so optimistic about a full breakthrough. I'm actually not liking this price action at all. And if we continue in this range, it's likely going to perpetrate, or it's likely going to indicate that we will come down lower. So we've broken below that line of support, and I'm not so happy about that, number one. Number two, there is a head and shoulders pattern that has just formed, and we're breaking below the neckline. As I speak right now, we're trying to bounce above it, but it is a pretty big head and shoulders pattern, and it's one that we can't be ignoring. So unlike the symmetrical triangle, you are just above the neckline with this one, but it doesn't look too good. It's not something that I would be very optimistic about. So if you're in any short-term, big, long positions, I would be considerate of these bearish patterns. I'm personally in no way shorting. It doesn't mean that you don't have to short. It's just against my sort of trading philosophy. But I'm not in any short positions because I'm more of a macro trader. And in the macro, we're still holding up fine. But remember the pattern I mentioned to you on yesterday's video? The ascending triangle? Well, that's also now broken to the downside because we're below the line of support. And that's when you draw it as conservatively as you possibly can. And this is a more of a bearish pattern because we're coming from bearish price action, which leads to a more bearish probability that you're going to be heading downwards. Like I said, I'm not shorting. What I'm doing is I'm only going to be buying at a particular price level. And that price level that I'm going to be accumulating more Bitcoin will be the 54 simple moving average. I think it's pretty clear to me that the 54 simple is going to get tagged. Last week and the week before, there was a chance that the double top wouldn't have continued with the small pump that we experienced. But now you're falling below the support line of this double top too. And I think everything is pointing towards the 54 simple moving average. Last year, around these times, Bitcoin consolidated for 7 months. Similar time duration to the consolidation we've experienced over the past 6 months. You've hit the 54 simple moving average, and in November, you saw a break to the upside. And now we're coming very close to the 54 simple moving average. We're obviously in November. I'm not saying we're going to see a huge move to the upside, but at least it's going to be a line that will give us a possible opportunity of bouncing greatly to the upside. And in preparation for that opportunity, I have my final Hail Mary DCA Bitcoin position at 101.75 over on Weeks, which if you want to sign up to, over on the CryptoKit channel, you can find the first link in the description down below to sign up to Weeks or to sign up to Pinex if you want to be using trading bots. Okay, so if you want to be buying a final Hail Mary position, I'm doing it on Weeks, and that's going to be at the 54 simple moving average, and that is currently at 101.65, and it will soon move towards the $101,700 price territory. That's all I'm looking for, and if I do see that 54 simple is broken, well, yeah, then we can talk about that later. When it comes to Ethereum and altcoins, it is looking a bit more concerning than it's looking for Bitcoin. On the daily time frame, you've lost the bull and bear market support band, and the bull and bear market support band has officially crossed bearishly. Okay? Really not good. And then you look into the shorter term patterns for Ethereum and other altcoins alike. And in this dump that you've experienced over the past hour, you're losing this line of support. Yet again, this is a bearish continuation pattern, likely going to pull you lower. Exactly how much lower, if you're asking? I think I mentioned, I said that 3.3365 would be worst case scenario on the Telegram community. I think the worst case scenario actually will be the 3.1K level, but I think the more likely level that Ethereum will be bouncing from will be around the 3.3 to 3.4 thousand dollars. But to me, those price ranges look very, very realistic. Over on Pinex, I have a bot that's going to be buying for me Ethereum, or I think it's already bought it. Let's see, transactions placed. No, it will still be buying. That's good. So on futures bot, Ethereum, let's switch to Ethereum. Ethereum, it's still going to be buying Ethereum for me all the way to the downside. I'm bullish on Ethereum in the macro. So that's why with these bots, it's just going to be accumulating if Ethereum experiences a drop to the 3.3K level and then sell all the way up to $8,000. But in the short term, if you have any big positions, I would be careful. Another one that I would be careful is with Solana. Solana is experiencing a major crossover, a bearish crossover between the bull and bear market support band and the 54 simple moving average. This bearish crossover is a similar crossover that if I were to see on Bitcoin, I would be flipping short ASAP. I know that doesn't sound good. And what else is happening on Solana is that you're losing this daily linear uptrend. A massive uptrend is being lost with this current weekly candle that's been only active for the past, 12 to 18 hours. So it doesn't look good for Solana. And when I flip to the shorter term time frame, just like Ethereum, you have the same short term bearish continuation pattern. It looks even worse than Ethereum. So I think we can actually come down to the target of this bearish continuation pattern. And to measure the continuation pattern's targets, you calculate the heights. You can either put it at the resistance or the support line. Either way, it gives you between like $140 to $120. Here is what I would be looking for targets. I would focus on the huge cup and handle pattern that Solana has been creating since the past cycle. When you look at this cup and handle pattern, within the handle itself, there is a range. And the bottom of this range is sitting at the $100 mark. So on Pinex, I have a Solana bot that would be buying Solana all the way down to $77. Not saying that 77 is going to happen for Solana, but it would be buying Solana all the way down to at least the bottom of that range, because macro, just like Ethereum, I'm very bullish on Solana. But in the short term, you can come down to these levels. And if you do, I wouldn't be very scared. And the rest of the market also not doing so well. For Cardano, actually, I like this level as a dip buying level. When you go to the weekly time frame and look at the short term, like there's been so many wicks and candles that came to exactly where we are, and then you saw a bounce. For spot trading, I think now is a cool time to be accumulating. But if you're a derivatives trader, until you see a breakout above the upper resistance line, just like you did multiple times throughout the cycle, then I think it will be a nice time to be buying into derivatives long positions. But for now, I would be more cautious. And to end things off with, World Liberty Financial is down 12%, a little bit more comparatively to the rest of the top 100 markets, not by so much, but it could be fueled by what President Trump said this morning. President Trump said in the first clip, I only care about one thing, and that is making America #1 in crypto. China is getting into it very big, but we're leading. That sounds nice and all. But in the second clip, and we watched these clips fully on the Moonshow Daily Crypto Live, but in the second clip, when the reporter asks President Trump, why did you pardon CZ? Trump says, I have no idea who CZ is. And it's a bit concerning because obviously CZ's been quite helpful, I would argue, with World Liberty Financial. But anyways, I would just recommend watching the full 60 minutes interview and then coming to your own conclusions. But I just thought, after you watch the full interview, you'll understand why I think it's a little bit concerning. But yeah, I think Trump is good overall because he's providing pro-crypto legislation, and I think he's better than the Biden administration for crypto. But from this clip, you understand that it is a business, right? It's a business for him, and that's understandable in a way. I'm not saying it's right, but in a way it could be understandable. With that said, that concludes today's updates. Not the best of days for the crypto markets. I mean, the S&P is doing okay. The S&P is still going upwards, but Bitcoin is diverging a little bit. I would be more on the cautious end. I would still be optimistic. I wouldn't be thinking that the world is ending. However, being cautionary is the right approach, the right mindset to have at this point in the markets, I think. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you all on the next video very soon. Bye-bye, guys.